everyone. It's Sarah from the Support Worker Store. Today I've got Cedar, and I'm really excited to have you because we have danced around. We've never actually met each other virtually, and you've got one hell of a story. And I'm really excited to share with everybody tonight. So, can we get cracking right into it? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, that's a really, really broad question. So I would describe myself in very different ways. I would say that I'm a mother, first and foremost. I'm a sister. I am a traveler. I'm a learner. I'm a community contributor and I'm a business owner. So, yeah.
So, knowing all that stuff, what got you or like really inspire you to open MyAssista back in 2017?
Yeah, great question. In 2017, I had a personal situation that I went through some major surgery myself, and I was very fortunate at the time that I had a mother-in-law who supported me to actually get back on the road. I was working as a CEO of a company, and I needed to go out for a 2-hour drive to set up a campus out in Toowoomba, and I wasn't allowed to drive, and I needed someone to take me out there. And I was fortunate enough to have her there, my mother-in-law, and she helped me out, and it just started the ball in my brain thinking, what happens when people don't have someone that they can call on in order to get help? What do they do when they're in these situations? So when they don't have family. So that was the catalyst to start it. And originally I wanted to start in aged care, but in 2017 was the first Royal Commission into aged care. And so I actually approached at a business consultant to get some advice around what pathway should I take. And they said, no, don't do aged care because Royal Commission. But there's this thing called the NDIS. Why don't you have a look at that, get some runs on the board, and then hit the ground with aged care? And so that's exactly what I did. So I started with myself and my sister. She was my first employee, and so I've got the business nous behind it, how to set everything up, how to get things operational. And she actually held the qualification to be able to do the work. So I sourced the clients, I got everything started, and she did the work. So yeah,
So,
that's how we started.
how did you source your very first participant to join your organization? Because to get up and running, a lot
Yeah.
of people like, how do I get to the first person? That's one of the hardest things to do.
Well, back then, 8 years ago, the NDIS was very new, right? So yeah, on the Facebook, I actually got a lot of business organically through Facebook, through lots of posts through that way. And having people reach out and go, I want someone who's reliable. I want someone who can come and do this job. I had some brochures developed, which I dropped into some doctor surgeries, and I did some mailbox drops, that sort of stuff. That's how it got started. So the first couple of clients were Facebook and pamphlets. So there was no one around really in order for a competitor to actually, you know, go out and say, I'm better than this. It was a new business. Let's get started. And yeah, very fortunate. It was all through Facebook and how I messaged people. I spoke very differently to some of the other people on Facebook who were saying, yes, yes, we can do that. The way that I used my words was very different.
So that's obviously, I take it, because you have a bit more of a background before you started in some management and how that shaped your business. Is that, can you give us a little bit of a dive in what you did prior that helped you to build up these skills? Because these are really hard skills to have.
Yeah, they are. And I suppose I was very fortunate that I did have a corporate background. So I started in hospitality. I did 17 years in hospitality. I studied tertiary education. I studied full time and worked full time. And so I was living in New South Wales at that time. When I finished my qualification, I moved up here to Queensland and I met my husband of the time. And we travelled around Australia and we worked hotels, motels, you name it. So we ran some motels where he and I were the on site managers. We lived there. I worked in 4 to 5 star hotels, front of house, back of house, all over. From there, my last job here on the Gold Coast was at the Surfers Paradise Marriott. I worked for Marriott for 7 years. And my last role was that of the front office manager, where I was responsible for 120 staff, meeting brand standards, understanding compliant laws and legislations, hiring, firing, all that sort of stuff, dealing with client problems and complaints. And yeah, I left there to go to my dream job. I didn't go back after I had my baby. I wanted to focus on my baby. And so about 8 months after I had my baby, I needed to do something. I was going insane. So I then worked for Serena Russo as a vocational education trainer. So I worked in the vocational education space for 13 years. I worked my way up from being a trainer and assessor to then um, being a state manager. I'm a geek when it comes to understanding laws and legislations. I really like to understand how things work. And so that was really a great foundation skill for me to learn how to interpret legislation, how to go through audits. Because in the vocational education sector, that's what you do. It's very similar. It's all government funded money. And so you have to have evidence of everything that you're doing. You have to follow policies and procedures. And you have to be able to follow or read a law and go, how do I make that apply for what it is that we want to do? And so they are the skills that I learnt that allowed me to start this business. I was managing people, I was meeting budgets, trying to work to financials, so given goals and KPIs and targets that I needed to achieve. And so I worked in that sector for 13 years until I started MyAssista in 2017 concurrently as I was working as a CEO in a state sorry, CEO here in Queensland, for an RTO, and it got too much for me. I wasn't able to continue to juggle staffing and clients and all that sort of stuff with text messages and things, so I wasn't able to continue to do that, and so I had an owner of a business who knew I had something on the side who said, "Look, you're really not gonna do very much unless you sit back and focus on one thing, and so if this is business is what you wanna do, then go ahead and do it and focus on it," and so I did. I resigned the very next day, and, that was 2021, and then that allowed me to then progress my sister to where we are today. So in 2021, we had 12 staff, and I think the turnover of the business was maybe 150 grand. And so today it's a very different place. I've got just under 50 staff, but we're actively recruiting now, so that'll be higher in the next couple of weeks. And we're at $4 million in revenue. So it's a very big jump, but the business skills that I've learnt about not having a reliance on one particular thing that we do, but by diversifying and having different things that bring in money is something that I was very passionate about right from the very beginning, and that's been in the business plan all the way forward. So those are the skills that I learned from a corporate background that I've brought in to run a business for myself.
It's so funny that you mentioned hotel skills, and I know people are like, what do you mean, Sarah?" To be honest, I believe and I've met multiple people that have worked in the hotel sector before going into the NDIS sector, and it's one of
Yeah,
the best sectors to learn how to
100%.
communicate with people, how to roster and move things around when things hit the fan. It's very underrated. I believe it's
No, I totally agree. Like my ops manager and I, if someone's got hospitality on their resume, let's bring them in for an interview because they can think on their feet, they can problem solve, they actually understand customer service, and that you go into hospitality because you want to be of service to people. So it's a really big factor that is brought into 100% into the community services sector.
So, do you reckon that's the reason you stepped back and thought, right, I really want to do this? It's that element of wanting to serve because hospitality.
Yeah, 100%. I believe that there's no greater honor than being of service to others, and so, that's also a foundation of why I've joined Rotary because that's what they do, they're of service to other people, and so that is everything that we do. The ethos of our business is, it takes a village to raise a child, but once you no longer a child, you still need a community around you, so we wanna be able to have that because you still need to ask for help, and there are people who really love to be on the giving end, right? To be able to give their service to others. And so that's the network and the community we've built.
100%. And what I like also is that you've got a background in education as well from RTOs. So, have you been able to put any of the RTO stuff into your business when it comes to upskilling your team?
So it was quite a very strong line in the sand, Sarah, when I started that we only employed qualified people because I believe strongly in education and the skills that come with that. And I'm not saying that those individuals who've got life experience shouldn't be given an opportunity to learn or for a job. But I do know personally that the benefit of having skills and knowledge and actually uh, having to think about it rather than just go with the flow. I think there's different standards that come from education that you learn, and ongoing professional development is a very strong undercurrent that we have with us. We have that, as you should have in any NDIS business. We have ongoing training. And if a staff member comes to me and says, I'd really like to do that course there, or yeah, sure, I'll pay for it. I've got 3 staff at the moment that I'm paying through the business for them to do their qualification. They have the right attitude, they have the right background with regards to hospitality and wanting to help others. And okay, I'll pay for you to do the qualification. No problem whatsoever.
Do you get a kick out of it when they pass?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, we recognize it, we celebrate it, like it's a huge achievement. And one lady that, so there's 3 that are current at the moment. We've got another young lady who came across to us, who's a friend of a friend, is daughter of a friend, and she is a natural in this sector, right? But her background is that she never finished school because she has learning disabilities. She's dyslexic like you, and so she had trouble in reading. And so we actually supported her to get that qualification. She is a natural and she's one of the best employees that we have. But we really wanted to make sure that she was recognized and got the piece of paper. And so that took her a little while to do it. But, you know, if we can help her to learn more and to give her, what's the word, some gravitas behind what it is that she's doing every day that will help her into the future, let's do it. We are very lean.
Yeah.
So I speak about this all the time. We are very lean. So there's me. I have an operations manager, and I have a couple of people now who help me from offshore. One's offshore. She does compliance and she helps me as a VA.
Yeah.
And then I've got a care coordinator who operates our Department of Veteran Affairs clients and our home care clients. And that's it. Then we've got frontline staff. That is it. So we don't have this huge, big plethora of staff. Everybody is multi-talented and multi-skilled. I needed help. So when I went from growing in 2021, I got to a point that I was making mistakes, and I was very fortunate that one of the very first support workers that I employed came to me and said, "Look, I've just enrolled in a qualification to do HR. Do you think there might be a job for me when we go through to aged care?" She's now my operations manager and she runs the business. So I'm very rare in the office. We obviously we catch up every day, we talk every day. She runs it. So
Was that a
she
Was it a fluke, or was it like this person just had the right skill sets, but it's also the right attitude as well to grow a business? Because it isn't like you can have all the skill sets, but if you're not the right one and the right passion to want to love your business, it's very hard.
Yeah, correct it is. 100% you're correct. You've got to want to. And for me, it's not wanting to have riches and all these sort of things, because again, in the NDI sector, there's not a lot of that around, but it's about how can we help more people. And so we do it slowly, we do it gradually. We haven't, and I'll be very honest, we don't have hundreds and hundreds of clients. We have maybe 40 support coordination clients, and the rest I've got maybe just under 20 other EIS clients, but they're all 24-hour care. Like 6 of those are 24-hour care, and so that's where there's a focus, right? So we specialize in providing the one-to-one, and so we found our niche and we've just stuck with it. So we do have a history where we've tried different things, where we've had clients say to us, in particular, transport as an example, we can't get a taxi and they cancel all the time. And so we've tried to do different things to help people, but it hasn't worked. Like, it hasn't been viable financially. It hasn't got off the ground. It hasn't, we've had people push back from plan managers and that sort of stuff. So I would say, even though we've been in business 8 years, it's only now, maybe 2 years in, or 2 years later, that like from 2 years ago, that we've gone, right, let's just focus on the one-to-one stuff. Let's just make it what we do, and we'll only do that. And so that's where we're at now. So you have to be flexible. You have to be able to adjust. The business plan is not set in stone. You have to be able to go, right, this isn't working. How can we do something different to make it better?
There's also that nice feeling because I come from a background of one-to-ones and doing one-to-ones and supporting people
Yeah.
one-to-one and 24-hour care. So we're speaking the same language, and there is this really nice
Yeah.
feeling because it's having like a whole life approach for somebody, especially in 24-hour care. You get
Correct.
to see a lot of stuff and you learn very
Yeah.
quickly about how I was actually talking about this the other day, how quick life can change. And I feel like anybody that's provided 24-hour care to somebody that's had a stroke, for instance, how life changes so very quickly and how it's adjusting from exiting hospital to going into home because it isn't the same what it was beforehand. And as providers, we're entering into something that's completely new for them as well. Yeah, it's I've got a soft spot there, 100%. In the earlier days when you started, was there any really big challenges for yourself?
There's yeah, there's always been big challenges, for me personally, do you mean, or as a company?
You pick. I'm easy. Either either. What
Look, the biggest challenge I think most business owners have if they've never had their own business before is, the imposter syndrome, the thought around how am I going to pay my bills? I'm losing money. What am I doing wrong? All of those factors combined, it's not just one period in time. Those are constant. They go up and down, up and down. And so you have to learn to be resilient and you have to learn to find people that you can trust and rely on and seek advice from because I don't have all the answers. I've got, the operations manager. She's been in the sector a very long time, much longer than I have. So I need to have people who are experts at what they're doing, and I'm just facilitating what we're doing. So I'm just guiding this. They're doing all of the work. So the biggest challenge is understanding that it's not all. I don't have all the answers, and being open enough to recognize that and say, okay, how can I learn to improve? What do I need to do? Who do I need to get? And understanding that moving forward. The imposter syndrome in this sector is significant.
yeah.
You've got a lot of people that come into the sector who've never worked or had a business themselves, and so very quickly they get a business that's turning over quite a lot of money, and then they go, "What am I doing?" It's very common.
So how did you work on your imposter syndrome? Because I'm probably the first to
Still there, dude. It's still there. It's still
it is
there.
hard.
I look at people in this sector and go, wow, what are they doing? How can I be like that? And then I go, well, actually, do I want to be like that? Not really. Do I admire them for what they're doing? 100%. But that's not me. We just need, and that's where you got to go, okay, I need to just bring it back. What is it that we want to do? What do I, that sort of stuff. And that's the hard part because you see all these people who are doing such wonderful things and go, I want to be like that. And you just go, yeah, I'm not. I just make a difference in my little part.
Did you have to network your way to get what I call business besties, people that you can call up in this sector and go, right, I'm having a bit of a tough time. What would you do and how would you do it? Do you have a collective of people?
I do. And it's a really great question, Sarah, because in 2018, tried to get a networking collab going, right? And I Facebook put all these posts up. Yeah, yeah, we'll be there, we'll be there, we'll be there. And no one came. That happened a couple of times and then I just gave up. It's very different now because where I come from in the hospitality, you had networks and you had regular meetings about, flick back to that. What was your average room night last night? What did you achieve? What was your occupancy? And you shared all of that. And everyone was so parochial and they didn't want to give out any information because they thought that you were going to take their client. I've always had a network that for people that I don't suffer fools lightly. I have a big BS register radar. And so when I meet people, if I don't gel with them, if I can't see that there's a genuine connection there and what they're doing is congruent with what it is they say they're doing, it's very hard for me to actually be friends with those people. So the people that I have met in the sector that I do connect with, and there are some really great ones, particularly locally, I've been very fortunate that, yeah, we can ring up each other and go, hey, as an example, last month, hey, we're doing some manual handling training. Can I borrow your hoist? Right? Can we come and pick up your hoist? Yeah, yeah, no problems. And so it's about developing trust. So you've got to do what you say you're going to do, follow through with that. That's how that has come about. The networking hasn't been intentional. It's about because I'm not a very good networker. I don't like to stand up in front of like to walk into a room that I don't know anybody around. If I've got to stand up and talk in front of somebody, I can do that if I'm prepared, but I can't walk into a room of people I don't know and approach someone and go, "Hi, I'm Cedar. Who are you?" That sort of stuff. It's really uncomfortable for me. So I tend to stand on the outskirts
Yeah.
and then I just cozy to a couple of people, and I've been very fortunate that those people have been really good people. I've been very lucky to come across some really good ones. But again, then you get introduced to others and you go, "Oh, yeah, I really like you." So the introductions from others has been really good as well. Uh, and so, yeah, I think you need to be open all the time to being introduced to people and asking the right questions and just being
Nice.
genuine.
I'm actually surprised by that because I have seen your presence online before. This is not the first rodeo that I've seen you. So to hear that, I'm actually surprised to hear that because I thought it might just be something that comes naturally because you have a background of teaching and hospitality and getting up and talking to people when it is uncomfortable. It, yeah, wow. Sorry. You've taken me by surprise.
Can do it. I can do it. But if you remember when you reached out to me about coming on, I said, what's the theme? What are the questions, right?
Yep.
I need to know, I need to be prepared. So I can't, I'm not good of just going off the cuff.
Oh, good.
So I need to be prepared. So that's the difference, right? And so when you walk into a networking environment, it's very difficult because you don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, so even last week at the SIL function, the welcome drinks, I don't know if anyone who watches this will see, but I actually sat in the corner on a chair by myself for quite some time just to watch what was going on, and I had people come over to me to chat, but that's that's who I am. Unless I have to turn on for to be on stage or to talk or to right, this is who I am today, this is what I'm gonna be. Yeah, no, I'd rather sit back and just watch.
Were you people watching?
Yeah, I'm a big people watcher. Oh, 100%. I love it. Love it.
It does. I reckon it says a lot because yeah, I believe one of my strong points would be body language and interpreting what I see. And I think I generally do have a very good radar for certain, like, what I can see and what people actually want. And one of the things is sometimes when it comes, I think this is just in life in general, whether it's business or life, to sit back and watch another person to see what their reactions are and how they communicate and whether we would be a good vibe or not. Like, because I'm not for everybody, and that's okay.
Correct. Well, there you go. You've summed it up. That's what it's about. I'm a significant people watcher. That's every day I have to get out of the house. I have to go to a cafe and sit down and have a coffee. Otherwise, I go insane, right? But I do it because I'm out. I'm with other people I can see and I can watch. That's what I enjoy.
Have you ever in this journey felt like just giving up? Like, geez, this is so hard because it is hard. What we do is hard. The people that we serve, at times, they've got their life throws them some really complex things that happen in their life. Have you ever felt like giving up?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah, 100%. When you mentioned before about someone's had a stroke and their world has changed, and so that's quite difficult to go through. And I haven't had that, so I'm very fortunate. But we had a client that had an acquired injury, and yeah, and so I bent over backwards to help that gentleman, and we supported him for maybe 8 or 9 months, and it just came to a head, and I had to draw the line in the sand and say, "I'm sorry, I can't continue to work with you. We can't continue to support you. You're not working towards." Anyway, there's a whole big history around it. You're not working towards the goals that we had agreed on. And so, uh, the way that he spoke to me and my team, it really was like, I don't know if I can swear because
Go
I
for
do
it. We're
swear.
adults.
I said, "I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. Like,
Yeah.
this is just ridiculous. Like, I've bent over backwards for this person." And threats of going to the NDIS commission, which he did. He went to the commission and I had a call 6 months later. And, yeah. And when you have a client who rings you and you are shaking and and you don't want to answer the phone because your gut is so, I do not want to talk to this person, but you have to because there's no one else to. That's when I go, "Why am I doing this? Like, why?" And so for the safety of myself and for my business, I had to go, "Right, I have to make an uncomfortable decision here." And again, yeah, when you make financial decisions that don't work out and you just go, "Wow, that was the biggest mistake that I've made. Where am I gonna find the money for that? Okay, what am I doing?" So, and that's when it comes back to resilience and having those people around you to go, "This is what's going on. What should I be doing?"
Yep.
It's very important.
You've picked up on two very important things. And sometimes I find as providers, there's this uneasy feeling that we get like, I know I'm not the provider that can serve this person the best. Now I've got to make a really hard decision and break it to a person that, look, this is as far as we can go. Like, it's not, it's an uncomfortable decision to make. Every time I've made it, I've never had a regret about it, to be honest with you, because I know it was always in the best for the person that I served.
Yeah, 100%. And you want to help so many people. Those, and this comes through life as well. You can only help those people who want to be helped. And so when you come across people who that you bend over backwards and you break your heart to do whatever it is that you can, and then they treat you, and your people like shit,
Yes.
it's like, I'm sorry, we can't do this.
I've
So
I've always put the rule in place, and the rule was, if I would never work with that person, neither will you. And the reason why I've always put
yeah,
that in place is because I know the boundaries, I know what's safe, and I know what's not safe, and I've worked within plenty of plans, whether it becomes help or behavior support. Where are the boundaries and what is acceptable? Because if I can't, as leaders, we really do need to have safety on shift as a priority. So I, yeah, never
and
have
same
any.
exactly what you're saying. It's not just physical though, too, right? It's also mental.
Yeah, I don't wake up in the morning to do a bad job. So if I'm going to wake up and I want to do a very good job, I might as well serve people that I know that I can do my very best for.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and we're very fortunate. A lot of our clients we've had for years and years and years, and so we're very grateful for that. But you just know, you get to a point
Oh,
where you
you
go,
learn.
"Yeah, this is
Yeah.
all."
And you never make that
Yeah,
same mistake twice. And when you were talking about financial as well, if you didn't make some of these financial risks, you would never have learnt and figured out that that was not a area of expertise that you wanted to go down to.
yeah, 100%.
Which
And so I'm very vocal for that now when I talk to new providers. So, and I've shared this story with multiple people as well. We lost $28,000 while we had a still house that sat empty, right? And it sort of got me thinking the balance sheet, you're going backwards and backwards and backwards. It's like, holy fuck, what's going on? What do I, and you really have to analyze it and look at it. I know there are a lot of people in this sector who are not looking at their P&L, they're not looking at their money coming in and out. I can tell you intimately off the top of my head what's coming in, what we're waiting on, that sort of stuff. But also, they need to be disciplined. So today was a payday for us, and so how we operate is we pay the staff. So this week, that all the money that comes in this week, half of that will be set aside for superannuation and the tax that's associated with the payroll that comes in today, and the remainder of that will pay for all of the bills. And then all of the money that comes in the following week, that accumulates for us to then to be able to pay the wages the following week. So you've really got to understand your cash flow, you control it, and make sure that it works for you
you to have a cash flow that works for you, do you bill weekly, daily to make that flow?
weekly.
Weekly.
So again, today, Monday's our accounts day. So our weeks run from Monday to Sunday. And so Monday morning, our accounts person, she comes in and she turns the week over essentially in our system, and then generates all the invoices, sends them out, and then does the payroll every fortnight as well. Yeah. So it's every Monday like clockwork.
We don't talk about this in our sector, but I really do believe it's very important to talk about that cash flow part, that we're making sure that we're billing consistently and ongoingly, especially with quarterly funding and how it's working, because
Yeah.
there is it can be quite easy to stuff it up.
Yeah, and I'm hearing stories that people are folding because they're not making their commitments with super and tax and that sort of stuff. And that's simply a lack of knowledge and a lack of discipline. We've all got the same cash flow happening. So we've got a couple of other financial grants that we get that are paid 30 days in arrears. So we have to manage our cash flow because I'm paying staff for work that's being done today, but we're not going to get paid for that for 30 days.
Yes.
So if you are not on that, you're not gonna survive.
That yeah, you won't survive, especially not in this sector at the moment because it's so hard. And a lot of, like, especially with unpaid as well and debt collecting. Yeah. Is this something that you learned from your years of experience, or is this something that you had to learn from now? Because this sector, yeah, the way it rolls.
It's a good question, Sarah, because I was actually I was drafting a service agreement. We've got a new client coming in and starting on with us on Friday, and I was going through the service agreement, filling that out in preparation for that. And we actually don't have a statement in our service agreement about debt collection. We have a statement in our service agreement that says we're going to invoice. We're going to ask you to pay this money. If you don't pay it, we're going to contact you. We don't have anything about debt collection. I've never had to do any debt collection, so I've been very fortunate that way. But again, that's because I'm on top of it. I'm looking at what's outstanding. It's not to say that I haven't written stuff off, which I have. Yeah, not significant amounts, because yeah. So the debt collection, I think, comes from when you are not aware of what's going on within your business,
Yeah.
and so you have to get to a point, again, having those hard conversations with stakeholders and stuff about saying, look, and again, I've shared this story as well. We've got a client that we support um, for us, and his plan was running out. The second year in a row, his plan was running out. 2 months before the plan was due to run out, I sat down with his daughter, who is his nominee, and said, look, we need to make some adjustments to the roster because we can't continue to support him the full hours that we're requiring, because you're not going to be able to afford it, right? And so I can't afford to continue to pay my staff and not be paid for it. So we need to come up and be flexible with how we organize this. And so she was very gracious with that. But you need to be on the front foot with some of this stuff. You can't wait until you've got 50 grand owing to you to then go, oh, maybe we need to speak to someone. You can't do it.
100%. It's all about communication, isn't it? Because you know it's coming.
Yes.
And because you know it's coming,
Yes.
if you can start planting those seeds that, this is coming, these are the actions that we have, so we don't get ourselves in a bit of strife. Like I don't know. I thought that was easy, but anywho, um, um, look, I'm pretty upfront as a person, so I really like to know what's going on, what's happening next, and this is, the expectations moving forward for us to provide really good care. Sorry.
But I think it also comes down, Sarah, you said that you've been in the sector a long time, right? So you understand that. But as I mentioned before, we've got a lot of people that have come into this sector who've never run a business before. They've never had to think about these things. So these things are the things that are killing those businesses, because they're not courageous enough. And it does take courage to say, hey, we need to change what's happening. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to continue to operate. Because that's admitting they're at fault. That's admitting they're making a loss. That takes courage.
Well, I would rather be upfront than have somebody that we serve sitting on a couch somewhere because they couldn't get support because it was it's blown, it's gone, it's out. If we can have these
100%.
conversations beforehand, because we don't want anyone without support. That's priority number one. We want to
No.
make sure that the people that we serve are safe and they've got supports around them. But we can't get to that point unless somebody steps in and has these. At times they are difficult conversations, but their conversations need to be had because it's in someone's best interest to be supported. MyAssist believes in being a family support. What does that actually mean in practice?
Yeah, it's a great question because we get this all the time. So, we specialize in one-to-one care, right? And so we're not just dealing with the one client. Most of our clients are non-verbal in a one-to-one situation, or they're complex care. And so we are dealing directly with the family. We're not dealing directly with the client. We're providing the services to the client on a daily basis. But the major decisions around what's happening, about doctor's appointments, about going to the hospital, about financial arrangements, all those sort of things are being made with the families. So everything we do on a daily basis is communicated to the families. So we have a couple of ways that we do that. We use the free app Telegram. So we create groups and we add the family members to them, and we share information with them every single day. We have tailored specific documents around what is it that each stakeholder wants to understand. So as an example, we've got one young lady that we support in her own home. She lives in her own home. She's nonverbal. She's beautiful. And mum and sister want to know every day, what is she having for breakfast? What choices are we giving her? So we have to document that. How much is she drinking? So she's peg fed. So how much milk is she actually drinking orally, and what's going through the peg? What movies did she choose today? They want to understand that so they can have a conversation with her about that. Did we go outside? If we did, what activities did we do outside? All these things are tailored so that the collection of information is unique for that particular family. And so we do that with every single family and client that we work with. So what information is it that's important to you to understand about your loved one that we are working with, and how do we communicate that with you? So it's verbally, it's via reports, via photos, all that sort of stuff. So we are working with the family.
Now you've got me curious on this. Is this a young lady that's moved out into a unit in the family property, or is it a actual house in the community that she's moved out into?
So her sister bought her she used to live in an aged care facility, and so she had a very terrible time in an aged care facility, and so her sister invested in a two-bedroom unit down the road from where mum lives, and so she actually lives in that unit. That's her place. And so we provide supports, 24-hour supports in her place.
Were you able to get like support her from the get go, or did you come halfway through?
We actually took over from another client that was not doing a very great job.
Yeah, it sounds like a real life approach for this individual in particular, because it really is important what a person did during the day to have those conversations with mum at night time or sister around the dinner table is incredibly important. And especially when you can see it and you can hear it and you can talk about it, because it's about involvement as a family. So it really does have that nice family, whole life approach about it. Oh, I like that. That's gorgeous. That's a nice story.
Yeah, very important. And they take up a lot of the time that we have with the operations manager, but that's about the relationship. It's the development of the relationship that allows us to have that open conversation, to allow us to hear their feedback as it comes through. So we don't we don't wait for complaints. If something happens, we are actually notified generally every day if there's a change that needs to happen. So, our CI register is just gigantic, but that's what it's about, working with the family, because life isn't stagnant. Life changes and we need to work with them with that. And so that's what family support is. Yes, the family might ring and we're on the phone with them for an hour each time, but that's how we develop the relationship.
The person we serve and their family are our customers. And this is we've got to,
Correct.
at times, I've got to remind people we've got to keep coming back to, because we are providing a service, which means that makes them a customer of ours. How do we do it to make sure that we are, nurturing the people that we've got? We're serving them the way that they expect, but also families have a high expectation too. Every now and again, when I hear things like this, I hope you don't mind me saying, but like I get this, this family's so difficult. I was like, well, is it difficult, or is it actually knowing what you want from a service and being very
Correct.
particular what the benchmark looks like?
We took a client over 6 weeks ago, and the very first phone call, she was on the phone with me, the sister of the client they were actually working with, for 2 hours, but she was quite direct. She said, "I don't want your marketing BS. Tell me what difference you've made to a person's life. Give me examples."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, no worries." And I did, and I said, "Look, I can't give you photos or anything like that. We don't do that. But I could actually see if another client's daughter would like to speak to you about their experience with us." She said, "I would love to do that." Sorry, that's the phone. And so that's what we did. She contacted another client who's been with us for 3 years and had a conversation with her about what was it that we were doing that was the difference between another provider. And so, yeah, she had another provider that was with them for 9 days.
Yep.
We've now been in there for 6 weeks, and they are hard work, very hard work, but the team are exceptional. Yeah, I'm blessed with a really great team,
Well,
and
nothing
we've
comes
just
easy.
been able to.
It's
No,
it's not meant to be easy. It's not like one of those you could just walk in. This is not a production factory. These are people. So it's meant to be hard. But you have all the hard stuff happens at the beginning, and then what I find, it kind of eases its way and it slows itself down, and towards the middle. So you've just got to be able to work with people and collaborate with families and individuals to make sure that they're getting what they want, because we're kind of like in the Uber Eats, really, aren't we? Because they're putting in an order.
yeah, 100%.
Well, you put in an order and you
Uber
have an
Eats, yeah,
expectation you'll get a delivery. And how it looks like
yeah,
and how it feels and makes you feel up, that's all important stuff. If I
correct, 100%.
well, if all else fails, we'll just be Uber Eats.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you work with individuals with such complex plans and needing quite high support, how do you maintain getting a workforce that's able to support them? Because not every support worker can work with people with high complex needs.
So we're very fortunate, but I think it also comes down to the culture is very important for us, Sarah, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But as I said, we only employ generally those with qualifications and experience. We pay above award, so that means my margins are smaller. but I do pay above award. For our team leaders, they get paid a little bit more than what the award is. I recognise them. Like literally today, I dropped off 2 gift vouchers to the staff that have done an exceptional job over the last couple of weeks with this new client. And, you have to see them. You have to see the staff. You have to recognise them. My operations manager has a fantastic relationship with our staff. They can call her at any time and have a chat. They all have my number. They can call whenever they want to as well. I think it's just being open and honest, genuine, transparent.
Do you think
And again, I wouldn't ask to do anything I wouldn't do.
Do you think it's because you've set the bench? Because when you pay above board, this is my idea of it. When you pay above board, it means that this is the benchmark. This is the expectations of service. I'm expecting, if, as a support worker, as a team leader, as a manager, I expect above that, and that's the expectation across. So I found that when you spend more on the wages, that the supports rise with it.
100%. That's really well summed up. I really love that. Yeah, and that expectation, setting that right at the very beginning. Again, last week at the expo, at the conference, there was conversation around trying to automate your onboarding process. Ours is all face to face, all face to face. So we sit down and we go through the values, we talk through what it is, we talk through our expectations, and I'm very clear with the ones that I do that the rosters are not changed to suit you. The rosters are changed to suit the client. Is what the client wants. If they come to us and they say, "Look, I really, Sarah's been on the team for a little while, but I don't know that she gels with the team anymore," then we're going to make a change to the team, Sarah. Unfortunately, we might move you to another client, but it's not about you. It's about the client and what they want. We are very, very clear with all of that, and we've had that constantly. Some people just don't gel, so we have to deal with that.
I love that because yeah, and the reason why is I've also had this debate, not long ago about automation. Automation's fantastic. Yeah, it makes it really quick, but it doesn't have that personal touch. And we're in the care
No.
business, so we need to have personal touch needs to be attached to it. So the person that I call, I've actually seen their face before. I actually know who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to a computer. I'm talking to about somebody that actually cares about my support. I
Correct.
love that, but also that gel part. And it does take leadership to at times move people and cut people, and it's not comfortable. But at the end of the day, the person that I serve is more important that they get the supports that they really truly deserve and need, and they can spend their NDIS money according to it and how they like it. It's not up for me to determine.
That's right. 100%. And so, yeah, we're very fortunate with that. And when we do find the right team, I think because there's consistency with the hours that they're provided, the support that they get, um, the communication that happens from the ops manager through to the team, I think that all just makes it work very, very well. I'm just very lucky to have a really great team.
It sounds like you've got some.
You have to nurture your culture too. So you have to be open and I said to you, what, 15 minutes ago, that I believe that being of service is the highest thing possible, right? And so we talk about that and we do discuss that. And so we want people in the interview process. Some of the questions we ask is, why are you doing this? Why do you come into this sector? Like, you've been doing this. And those people who are genuine and you can get the really good answers, right? You are us. This is what we're here for. So it's getting the right people, the right attitudes, and that cultural fit to your business is essential for you to be successful with your team.
Yes. And then, to be honest, I have kissed a couple of frogs in my time where I've made mistakes,
Yes.
but I
We all have.
pivot very quickly, and yeah, it happens very quick, and it's making a very quick decision on another person's behalf, making sure that that is the right support worker at play, because happy support workers turn up for the people that we serve the best way possible. And it's just finding the right ones with the right attitude to do more.
100%.
All right. Now, you are a provider in the Gold Coast. You're not a provider in Adelaide or New South Wales or Victoria. Are you centralized to one spot and one location?
So, yeah, yes and no. So I started the business here in Queensland and we've done everything here in Queensland up until maybe 6, 7 months ago. A licensed model. I've developed a license model, right? And so I was introduced to these people who were looking to partner with an experienced provider who could help them to build their business, not just with the NDIS, but also with other aspects. So, I've mentioned aged care, that's a passion of mine. And they're interested in that as well. So we were introduced, they've signed up onto my license model. So they operate under my banner at the moment down in Adelaide. It's the only place where we are at the moment. But the license model is there to use my experience, my policies and procedures, and our support network behind the scene to help people who want to be in this sector to have a business of their own, to bring their staff and to bring their own clients. They're not registered, can use my registration, and then we'll form a partnership and go from there. But that's what we're doing in Adelaide, so that's what on the scope.
How did you meet these people from Adelaide that wanted to join in a licensing model? Because that's really it's not every day you want to choose certain people to be under your banner, because not every provider is a provider of choice that you'd like to collaborate with. How did you find this?
Yes. So it was an introduction. It was a very clear introduction by a mutual acquaintance, a mutual friend that we both know who's in the sector. And we spoke for about 6 months before anything was ever formalised either. So it wasn't something that was just very quick. It was about understanding who they are as a person and what they want to achieve, how it is that we could add value to each other, what are the opportunities into the future, that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was about 6 months before we actually signed any paperwork and then went, right, okay, let's make this happen.
Was this so? It was a little bit by accident. It wasn't like something that you were seeking.
Yeah. So, look, the person who introduced us knows what I want to work towards and achieve, and just has a history of introducing people where they think they might fit really well. And so I know that they actually spoke to a couple of other people as well, other providers. And, obviously I ticked the box, and then they decided to work with me. But they're looking for a certain people who wanting to work with them to help them achieve their goals as well. So there had to be the alignment. It was just and well, comes back to your networking, who you know, who you're supporting.
Yeah, it's very hard to weed out what doesn't fit and what does fit with your values as well, because no provider,
Correct.
two providers are the same. So to get one on par with you, kudos to you. Well done. Like it's not easy.
Yeah. No, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it takes trust, and we've been together a couple of times. I'm going back there this month, actually. Next weekend I'll be down there. Yeah, so we're doing things together. Yeah, trying to get stuff off the ground.
Did you ever predict this? Like if you look back to 2017 to now, did you ever predict that you'd be under this licensing model?
No, no, but I'm trying to think strategically, Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about how is it that I can operate a business in this sector, and I'm going to be quite blunt. How can I, make myself financially capable into the future? What skills, what is it that I've got that I could potentially monetize?
Yeah.
And that was it. Okay, we've done this. We know how we operate, and I know firsthand that there are so many people trying to get registered. It costs too much money. They don't want to go through the process, and then they're bewildered. They don't know. They don't understand how it all works, and they just need to find a partner or someone who has done it all, who can go, rightio. Here are the things that we know that work. Here's the support mechanism. Here's the systems that we use. If you get clients and your staff, you manage all of that. We'll help you manage everything from the back end.
So was it
Simple.
completely different to your original vision that you've had?
I think your vision never is stagnant. I think it needs to change and adapt. It's always been aged care, and I've still got two things that I'm working on that are related to aged care, which is my biggest goal. And they will take a lot longer.
This is a big question. Are you ready for it? You ready? All right. So
Okay, hit me.
the key to business being sustainable and to be able to grow in the NDIS sector, what are your tips
Yeah, the keys, tips.
to growing in the NDIS sector?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get in my head. So the tips would be open to partnerships and collaboration.
I've got to say this right, because every time we talk about this in our sector, we talk about you got to collaborate, you got to be open to partnerships, but then sometimes you're like, but who with? it's really hard. Who do I pick? How do I
It
pick
is.
them? Why they're not always aligning with me, and then sometimes you think that you've got it right, and then you're like, "Oh, that doesn't sit within my values." How have you been able to successfully do it? Because it's so bloody hard.
So I've been around a little while now, and I've had experience in talking to people and being able to see whether or not they're genuine or not and what they are doing. There are a lot of people in this sector who talk a lot and the output doesn't meet what it is that they're saying. So if what they're saying and what they're doing match, that's your person. That's who you want to connect with. They are the people that you want to collaborate with. And I've just been very fortunate to, one, be introduced to them, or two, meet them throughout the years that I've been going to all of these events. And that's another thing. You need to be able to get out there and to meet people. You can't sit in your office all the time. If you want to build relationships, you actually have to be uncomfortable. I said I was uncomfortable in networking. I don't like it, but I've had some fantastic conversations with those one or two people that I have nudged up against in the room. So, yeah, you do have to get a little bit uncomfortable. You have to be creative. You have to keep aware of what's going on in the sector. So, do your homework, read, see what's going on, subscribe to the NDIS websites, get their newsletters, all that sort of stuff, and get some mentors. Get people who can guide you.
Did you find yours? Like, were you particular with your mentors?
I've had a few. I was quite blunt with the couple. I've got a lady that she audited us in the vet sector, in the vocational education sector. So she's a compliance guru. And right after all the times that we'd been working together, I've never done it before. I was like, "Look, I've never done this before, but I would really like to ask if you would be a mentor for me. I really loved the way that you worked, learnt a lot from what you did. Do you think I could stay in touch with you and you could spend some time with me teaching me?" And she was like, "Yeah, I was just going to say maybe we could connect afterwards." So it was just a mutual connection, right? And so you need to ask. Business coaches, I've had several. I'm still with Paul Bryan, but I've had a couple leading up to Paul. Paul knows this sector. I had some that were business coaches from other sectors, right? This is such a niche sector that you need someone who actually understands how this sector works. The business coaches that I had were great, but when you get to a point where you go, I don't know that this is of value anymore, you need to have the courage to go, I need someone more. I need something more. So it's, yeah, again, being courageous and knowing when you've got to take that next step.
So you've had them. Has anyone asked you to be their mentor?
Yes.
How did you feel
Yes.
good?
It is a lovely feeling. And I get a little bit overwhelmed with it again, like imposter syndrome quite stuff. But then look, I developed a course, an online course as well, because I was like, all these people are asking me, maybe I need to put something together. So I did. I developed a course.
You did.
But again, yeah, yeah, I have. It's called Indispensable Results. So if you want to have a look at it, I'll share it
Oh
with you.
yeah,
But
100%. I want to see that, but I'm not surprised. Like, geez, you're a powerful woman. Where do you fit this in?
thank you. Yeah, that's the thing. I see bright, shiny things and go, oh, let's do that. And then, so no, I have to be reined back in. But I'm all about education and learning. So there are a couple of people here on the coast that, yeah, if they ring me and I have a question, I'm happy to have a chat with them about it. No problem whatsoever. And that happens quite often. So it's about people, if people want to learn and have the courage to reach out and ask for help, I'm happy to help them. But I've had people ask me to be a business coach and that sort of stuff. I just don't have the time to do that. Like, that's not what I specialize in. If you want to have a chat and have a coffee about experiences, that's my jam. But I don't want to guide you in how to run a business. Like, sorry.
Do you know what? There have been people that I've caught up with for coffee, and I have got the most I have ever got anywhere else. And I was like, God, I didn't pay this person. Like, I paid for the coffee, but like, shit came so educated afterwards. And God, I learnt a lot. And I'm going to try this a little bit differently now.
I just think that there are a couple of people that I reached out to last week at the conference and said, look, I'd really like to see if we can collaborate on something. This was an individual that we had the same business coach at the time, right? And he was a new provider. And I'd been around for a little while. And she said, why don't you meet with this person? And I said, okay, cool. I'll reach out. And we did. And he was going to go through his first audit. He was freaking out about it. Said, come and have a chat. Let's catch up. Show me what you got. And so we did. And I recommended a couple of things that he did that got him through the audit, so he's really grateful for that. But, we've just stayed in touch, and I really think they're great people, and yeah, I don't know. You just meet the right people, and I believe that that's fortuitous. Like, people come across your path for a reason. You either go, "Yes, I want to continue this relationship," or "Thank you, that was lovely to meet you. What's next?"
With that, if you had a crystal ball, how do you see independents and small providers shape the future of the NDIS?
I think they're very much needed. I think the smaller providers give you flexibility, give you an opportunity to be agile. Independent support workers, some people just don't want to work for anyone else. They want to work for themselves. So that's fine, and that's how they excel. Great. Let them do that. And I think there are people who want that, someone, just one person, not a company, just one person who I know that I can call and who's going to help me. I think we are going to struggle to get everybody registered, but personally, I'm of the belief that it is necessary. It is government money. It needs to be accounted for.
Yeah,
We need a way around.
it has to happen. Like, I'm sorry, like there should be one for. I'm very black and white. There should be one rule for all, not several different rules. Registered, not registered. I feel like ethically, the people that we provide care for, with some of the complexities, it just needs to happen. Like it needs to happen for their safety and well-being to make sure that there is an order, there
Correct.
are things in place, so things don't go missing. People have got really good quality care.
But I think it needs to be. I actually submitted the information back to them, when they asked for feedback around the registration, all that sort of stuff. I did. I put something through about, I think there needs to be a tiered system with regards to the fees and stuff. Like, if you're an independent support worker, you can't afford 7 or 8 grand to go through an audit.
Yeah.
So how about we, make it a little bit more cheaper, but everybody needs to have that registration. I'm with you on that. I think there's always a place for the smaller providers. There's always going to be a place for that, and that's necessary.
Now, as you were discussing before, because I'm so nosy, I'm very nosy. You talked about telegraph. So, what when it comes to technology, what does it play? What's when it comes to technology playing in support with participants and stuff? Like, do you upgrade often? Like, is it something that you really hone in on? Because I know before you were talking about automating onboarding and stuff like that. How do you balance the two so you don't lose that personal touch?
Well, we haven't done a lot of automation, and we haven't done a lot of technology. We use a couple of systems, and that's it. So we use Telegram because it's free, and we can make it work for us. We use SharePoint, and we use a system called Careflow. They're the only systems that we use. Everything else is either paper. So all of the notes that the staff are doing on a daily basis that gets sent through to the clients is generally on a piece of paper that's been designed for them to fill out. We take photos and send that through. So there's not a lot of automation. I have checked. I've tried to get some stuff done with ChatGPT for my support coordinator with regards to filling out the service agreements and that sort of stuff. Put this line item in it, blah, blah, blah. I've got it to a certain point, but then when I had a chat with her about it, she said, "Oh, I'd really just like to still do it myself. I don't really need to put that data in." And I said, "Okay, cool." So that's as far as I got with that.
Sometimes we overcomplicate it with systems, don't we? When it's actually quite
Correct.
simple. It doesn't have to be this
Yeah.
elaborate thing.
Yeah, 100%. And so once you've got a process, like, and that's again, like, once we know exactly. So when you onboard someone, we need these documents. We fill all these documents out. That's done. Great. The next step, we need these documents. Fill all them out. Done. So it doesn't have to be overtly complicated. And unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. I should say I'm very lucky. The team of people that I have, a lot of them are very mature. And so a lot of them find technology very challenging. So I don't want to have too much technology in there because it scares them and shit doesn't get done.
Do you think also your participants, the people you said don't really give a shit, like what technology you have? It's more about the quality that you deliver.
Correct.
Yes, it's just
100%.
really blunt there.
100%. Well, like, our clients are nonverbal, so they might use technology to tell us what it is that they want, but that's it.
Yep. We don't have to overcomplicate things.
No.
All right, so this is a bit more of a personal drive. I hope you don't mind because I'm nosy as hell. Running your
Well,
own business is really tough. What keeps you motivated to keep on going? Because I've heard like little snippets that you've got certain goals and things that you want to achieve. How do you keep motivated? Because it is really tough.
It is really tough. There are days that I have really great levels of motivation and some days that I just go, "What the fuck am I doing? I wanna sleep. I just wanna stay in bed."
Yep.
But in saying that, I want to be in a position, and I am pretty much there, that I am financially stable, that I can choose what I want to do, and that's the goal that I'm working towards. So I want to be in a position where, because I'm 51, and so I want maybe in another 4 or 5 years, I wanna be at a point that I can make some things happen within the business, that I actually don't need to be in the business anymore, but I can still have what it is that I have. So that's my motivator. Travel is my motivator too. I like to travel a lot, so I need to be able to pay for that. And I have a teenage daughter. She finishes school in 3 weeks, and so it's about giving me the time to spend with her to create memories. And once she
Leads into the
school,
next question.
sorry?
Well, this actually, your teenage daughter, your family leads into the next question, which I think is really important. How do you balance being a managing director and having a life outside of work? Because when you own your own business, sometimes it's really easy, and I know I'm a sucker for it. That I put my identity in the business, and I suck it into one when they need to be separate.
Yeah. And I think that is, I've had people say to me, "If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?" And I just go, "I really don't know, because this is my baby. I've built it, and I'm very proud of what I've achieved." How do I balance the times and stuff? I have a great team. I have people who I know, they're going to be there to do their job, but I'm always working. I'm on call all the time. The phone's sitting right here. I worked today. It's a public holiday. Only those on shift worked. No one else in the office worked. So, and I don't work standard hours. So I get to drive my daughter to school. I get to sometimes pick her up from after school. I don't, she's my priority at the moment. The business is now at a point that it can run without me. And that was always the goal. I don't want to be in the business all the time. The business has to be able to run without me. That is so important to me. So that's how I make that work. But there are nights where I'm still working at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, or 2 a.m. in the morning, right? You've got to find that balance, what works for you. I'm now in a position where my daughter will be finishing school, so I will not have those commitments again. So now I can focus on really nailing down what is it that I want to achieve with my next goals, and focusing on that, because I don't have to be mum to do the school stuff anymore. So it frees up time. I'm lucky that I was able to find that balance. And I think you need to be able to be clear with what it is you want to do. Do you want to take your kids to school? So build a business that allows you to do that.
It wasn't, I'm going to make this assumption. It wasn't always that way to begin with. In the beginning with, you had to hustle quite hard to get to where you are today.
Correct. Yeah, I see. So 2017, I started MyAssista.
Right.
I was still working full time, right? So I wrote policies and procedures. I did everything. I've developed nearly all of our policies and procedures, right? So midnight, 2 a.m. in the morning, go to bed, get up, 6 a.m., school, run, drive an hour to go to work, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, for the first 4 or 5 years, it was hard yakka. And I'm talking, 80 hours, 90 hours a week, right? Doing two things. But now I'm at a point where, no, that's not what I need to do anymore. I've set it up so that it runs how I want it to run. You've got to hustle hard at the beginning, but it pays off in the long run.
100%. That's what I think a lot of founders or anyone that's had a business can really relate to that. It is hard. The first couple of years is really hard. It's not easy. Nothing's given. You have to work for it. Everything. You have to work for every point of it. And you're learning skills you never thought you'd ever do before. Like
Correct.
podcasting. I never thought I'd be a podcaster. It just it kind of spiraled. But I really
Yeah,
enjoy
but
it.
okay. And talking with you, Sarah, too, like you can't sit still either. So you've always got to keep yourself going, right? And I think that's also important. You have to recognize what keeps you challenged and keeps you going mentally.
Yeah, because like you said before about what would you be doing if you weren't doing this? I'm like, oh God, well, I don't know. I would be driving somebody crazy, that's for sure. And I would be I can't sit still. And especially if you've got a vision and an idea and where you want to see it grow and develop. And that's exciting. Like it is your baby and you get to grow it. And the coolest thing about is when you have your own business is that you get to decide when and who and how and all those in betweens. The decisions come down to you as you're it. And I love it.
That's right. Yeah,
So
100%.
if I had to by looking ahead, what's your vision for your company in the next 5 years?
So I've got a couple of things that I'm working on, and if you've met me at a couple of functions, we've talked about these sort of things. I'm working on a project which is dementia housing. It's a passion project of mine, and so that's something I'm working on slowly. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of stuff in the background for that. The license model has been something that I want to try and get up and running as well. So there's those two projects. Yeah. So aged care, focusing right on aged care. And now that the NDIS sector and this side of the business ticks over, it's just how can I add more value to the sector with that? And that's where the license model came in. So those two projects are my key projects in the next 5 years. I don't want to dominate the world. I'm happy with where we are. So maybe just maintaining what we're doing and just being able to help more people gradually.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't actively recruit or what's the word, advertise for clients anymore. It's all word of mouth now.
You've intrigued me. The dementia housing. What is the story
Oh, yeah.
behind that? Like that's, sorry, I'm so nosy. Yeah. What is the story behind it? How did you get to this idea to build this model for the future?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things with that. So when I did my qualification in individual support, the facilitator told us about a philosophy called the Eden philosophy. So have you heard of that?
No, tell me.
All right. So the Eden philosophy is a model of care that was developed in the 1980s America by a doctor who came up with this model because he was working one day. He went in to see this old lady. Said, "Oh, I hear that you're not having a good day today. How can I help you?" She said, "Do you have anything that can cure my loneliness?" And so he came up with a model of care, which is the ethos is about overcoming the plague of boredom, loneliness, and helplessness that we see in institutions. And so during that course, he said to me, "Have a look at this philosophy." So I did, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so what we want to do." So there's 10 principles that you follow. And so I'm now an Eden associate. I've gone and done a qualification with them. I understand how to practice that. And that's the model of care that we operate on. We don't believe in person-centered care. We believe in person-directed care. So even though a person might be nonverbal, they can still give us signs and clues about what it is that they want to do. So that's how we operate. So 10 principles that you follow. And while I was doing this qualification, the facilitator there said, "Cedar, you need to have a look at this company. It's called Group Homes Australia. They are doing a larger scale of what we are doing here on the coast." And so I did. I looked at Group Homes Australia, and it's run by a lady called, it was founded by a lady called Tamar Krebs. They've just changed their name, actually, their company name. She has 22 of these homes in New South Wales, and they are homes,
Yep.
luxurious palatial homes in suburbs that people are paying a combination of home care packages and fee for service because they don't want people to live in residential aged care facilities. So you've got people who are living with dementia, NDIS participants living with dementia, perhaps 6 to 8 people in a house supported 24 hours a day, and it is a home. And so there's no restrictive practices. There's no locked down areas that they can't escape from. They go out every day. They have activities. They cook every day. They eat together. But again, you get out of bed when you want to get out of bed. You have a shower when you want to have a shower. There's no strict routines and no one rushing you for 10 minutes to come and have a shower before you go to the next person in the aged care facility. And so I want to bring that here to Queensland, and so I've been working on that. So that's something that I'm doing in the background.
Wow. That sounds really impressive because I do because a lot of us have experienced at one point somebody that they love in aged care, and it is that, yep, you'll shower first and you must eat, you must do this. It's really like regimented, and it doesn't always suit the person that is in the facility. Like, because some days I want to sleep in, I don't want to get up. I want to go to bed later. I
Correct.
don't want to, go to bed at this time. Yeah. Wow. I look forward to seeing it. It
Yeah.
looks really cool. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's the Eden philosophy and the dementia homes. It's going to take financial backing, and so I'm trying to get my business in a position where I can partner with Group Homes Australia. They're open for that discussion. I've started that. A little while ago. But there's a lot of research and stuff that I have to present to them about the need for that here in Queensland and all that sort of stuff. So that'll take a little bit of time to get done.
Wow. Sorry, I'm really impressed. Wow. Yeah. That will make a really big difference. No, it will. It'll make a big difference to some people that we serve and their families because it is a different way of thinking about how care should be. Kudos to you, Michael.
Correct.
Kudos. Well done.
Well, thank you. It's difficult, I'm trying to talk to lawyers about a different option, and I'm being told, "No, you can't do that because no one's ever done it." And it's like,
Yeah. I can watch
would you
me.
just give me an opportunity? That's right.
Don't
That's
tell me
right.
it can't be done.
I know. It frustrates you, know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody after watching this podcast, what is the best way to contact you and be, get, you know, get into your inner circle of the as such? Like, how do we get to you?
Look, I'm happy to chat to whoever. My email address, cedar@myassista.com.au. That's probably the easiest way. I tend to not answer my phone a lot unless it's a staff member because I have it on silent most of the time. Otherwise, it drives me insane with all the notifications that come through. So email is the best way.
Definitely follow you guys on social media, LinkedIn.
Yeah, connect with me there for sure.
Thank you so much for being in this podcast.